Collecting video games is a weird hobby and one that doesn't need to be done in a specific way. You can collect games themselves, or merchandise based on a specific franchise, or even video game music or books related to the medium. There's so many avenues to be explored, and that makes it a fun hobby to get involved with. But as more and more people get into retro gaming, the market fluctuates and prices begin to rise. This sort of thing forces out people on a budget, which makes for more creative methods of finding cheap games. You can go to markets or boot sales or search through charity shops, and while it can be time consuming, you can definitely find better deals than using the standard auction websites like eBay. But here's the thing with collecting retro games, nobody is making any money off those sales apart from private sellers. The publishers and developers aren't seeing a penny from those sales anymore, so if you don't feel any purist need to own a fully boxed copy of a really rare game, then there's other options. There's nothing wrong with emulation if there isn't a readily available way to play a specific game. Nobody has made zero tolerance available for modern systems, so what do you do if you want to play that game? You download a ROM and you play it in an emulator or on a flash card. Or if you really want a physical copy, then why not buy a reproduction and make your own sleeve? You shouldn't feel any sympathy for a publisher who isn't making that stuff available if you're interested in it. Sure, if there's a modern way to get the game and support the publisher and the developer, then go for it. But there's no need to be precious about games that get rarer and rarer and more difficult to own and play. This is why I genuinely dislike people who hoard multiple copies of a game. People know how collectible these things are now, and they're taking advantage of the market by hoarding multiple copies. What does owning 5 versions of a single game because the cover art is different in different regions really do for you? You're basically owning 4 extra copies of a game that 4 other people might be interested in playing for the sake of being a completionist, and you turf out people who might be new to game collecting and just want to explore a console's library. But here's the crucial thing. Collecting games is just spending money on entertainment. That's all there is to it. So when you hoard multiple copies of a specific title, you're basically just going, well, look at how much money I can spend. Which kind of makes you look more of a loser than the guy with a carefully curated collection of games that he plays because he enjoys them. Collecting games seems to wildly vary between actually loving games and just waving around your big expensive dick. My advice to anyone who's getting into collecting is to specialise. You know what you like, so collect what you like. Don't get into pissing contests with other collectors in an attempt to have the most stuff, because you'll just end up with loads of stuff you don't really care about. If you love something, you should be passionate about it, and if someone goes, oh yeah, I got 3 of those, then that doesn't really show a lot of passion. That just shows you've got money, which, let's face it, isn't a very attractive quality. Pro tip: you can't buy a personality.